What is up, guys? It's Jack here, and welcome back to another Jurassic World Evolution 2 video. So in this one, we are going to be continuing to make our Rebirth Island facility. Now, as you guys can see, it's like 90% of the way done. There are still some decorations to be added, like on the left side of the canal by the gas station and in front of us by the lab and the helipad. Now, I'll be doing that on Tuesday and finally being able to finish this, but I'll be moving on to the rest of the map as well. And I believe that will be the last episode. I think that actually will be. Anyways, guys, if you guys do enjoy this video, please leave a like, please subscribe. And if you guys want to join the Discord, it's absolutely free. There you can see when I'm going to upload my next videos. You can chat with the community. You guys can suggest builds. You can post pictures of your builds. And yeah. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I'll see you soon.
All right, so I will be using these mesh fences. You guys can download the collection where I have all my mods, and this will be in that as well. I will be using these mesh fences to kind of make the outlining ring around the helipad. I'll be taking these and I'll be pretty much seeing if I can put them on every angle around the helipad. Now, this took a while to do just because of all the different little pieces that I added to it. So in a bit, you'll see that I added like some bushes, some rocks, and some of these objects are actually really hard to click with the advanced movement tools. So there's a weird cut somewhere in between, but you can see that I'm just trying to find every single angle, and eventually I do. I basically just make a plus sign and then another sideways plus sign. I follow the sides, how the sides are laid out around the helipad. I don't really specifically find a perfect angle for these things. I just try to make sure that the helipad will fit under or fit over it. So I place the rest of these meshes in line with our plus sign of their other meshes underneath the helipad. And then what I do after is, after they're all positioned, I select them all and then I rotate them to get that other half angle, whatever slope you want to call it. I don't know what it's called. I'm not. I'm a programmer, but I don't know math, so you know it's fine. Anyways, I try to fix the rest of the meshes to make sure that they're kind of even, because you'll be seeing the top parts that are outlayering when I pull the helipad up, so you guys can see that now, and it looks really good. I didn't expect it to look this good. I was worried about the helicopter though, because I didn't know the physics of how it was in the game, if the helicopter could actually land on the helipad or if it technically landed on the ground underneath the helipad. So I was just worried about that. Okay, so the next thing that we try to do here is we place down these stone walls that we love using. These are from, I believe they're from Engine Town. If you guys again want the mods, you guys can check them out in the description below. I have a collection, but I take these and I position them to make it look like the helipad is being held up by these concrete walls. I didn't want to do anything too much with the helipad, because I did notice that there was a lot of vegetation around it, so you can't really see these things holding it up. So I just put down the plus sign of 4 of them on each of the straight paths. I didn't even make sure that the wall was even like a 90-degree angle. If it was sloped, it was okay in my eyes, because it's something that's so little that you won't even be seeing if it was messed up, because you do place all of these trees and vegetation and all that stuff. Okay, so the next thing that I do is I place these rocks down. The rocks will be used for just kind of hiding the mesh that's in the background. Now, I unfortunately placed too much rocks, which makes it harder for me to move everything else. But I use these large temperate rocks to just hide everything. And then I place a little bit more down just because I felt like it needed to band outward more. Next thing I do is I open up the scenery menu and I look for our tree hats. Or actually, no, that's later. Sorry. I look for just some vegetation that kind of matches the environment. Stuff that you'd find close to the water. So I wanted to hide again the mesh. So I started placing down these bushes. And then after that, I move everything to the water. Okay, so here you see me dealing with the multiple layers that I had to move in order for this to be put here. But I just cut it out for you guys because it was like another like 13 minutes. But here I placed the helipad and it looks perfect. Only thing I was worried about was the pathway connecting the helipad to the outside. The other thing that I did here actually is I made the entire outside of the lagoon have the rock texture just so it didn't deal with this later. This weird thing happened with the paths and I didn't want to remove the ones by the shelter or by the lab or whatever we're gonna call that, because it would have removed some of our lab. So later on I fill up that whole entire area with the concrete paths. Okay. All right, so the next thing I do here is I make the walkway for the helipad. Now the walkway, it's there's some weird thing with the stone walls where they don't line up correct. But I just say, you know what, screw it. I'm not even gonna deal with that. I noticed that with the gas station last week, but unfortunately, I just couldn't figure it out. So I just wanted to make the walkways. So the fences that we use on the sides, we use I believe they're the Jurassic World cable fences. I don't know what mod they come from, but I wanted the logs from them, but there was like this white part on the other side, so I stuck the white part on the inside of the bridge, and on the outside I put the just the logs that you can see. Now I just copied them, pasted them, and just went all throughout, and I made the bridge. Now this next part I had to create like a slope for it to be down, like facing downward. I did this a weird way in the video, but in the end I just basically added another third piece to the bridge and then just sloped down with me rotating the path and the fences that I put on the sides of the path. You'll see this in a second, but it was just a weird way of me doing it, so I had to cut it because it was another like few minutes. I was also looking for stairs because I didn't want it to be slopes, but I noticed that we didn't really have any stairs, so I had to go with a slope. Okay, so here you see me dealing with all of this all over again because it was just annoying and it wasn't responding correctly. Like, I did not know how to plan this out in my mind for some reason. You know, I could make an entire building, but I can't make a pathway to a helipad. I don't know what's wrong with me, guys. But I spent a little bit way too long on this. I do this again for the pathway that goes over the canal, but I mean that's okay. The canal is okay. Okay, so the random cuts that we have where things are just randomly placed, those are the pieces that I put together. I just placed them there. Later on, I just A lot of my cuts are just because of that, because I do not know how I'm gonna do it, or I just mess up. I mess up doing it, and it's just like I spend an extra like 30 minutes just like redoing everything, even though it's the exact same thing that I did 30 minutes before. So it was just useless to show the weird random stuff that I had to do to make it work. So I apologize for just a random cut, and then all of a sudden, this bridge is placed. But I just moved the 2 path here, and I just added that slope. Okay, so the bridge is completed, and then this next section is our main facility. Now, I didn't really know what to specify as the main facility, so this is just everything, every little detail that we had to add to both sides of the canal. So I did put our pathways down. I used our main thoroughfares, and I wanted it to look like concrete, so I used those ones. Okay. And then this was weird because on the picture that I was using, there was a lot of vegetation just close to the lagoon. Now I might change that. I'm thinking about doing that actually right now. So what shows up in this video might be changed next video. I tend to do that a lot. I just, I'm like, you know what? I like this better because I don't like the concrete on the ends of it. So I might just have like a concrete pathway to the bridge and then just not have it, and just have trees all along, because I did place these planters along the lagoon, but when I was taking pictures, it just didn't really look well. Okay, this next section, I decide to create the area for the bridge, but I don't create the bridge yet. I still just fill in the area with the pavement. Okay. It's weird because this recording session took like what, 3 hours to do, and the video is around 40 minutes long, so I'm already almost halfway through voiceovering this for you guys. I did like this part that I added back here with the trees. I wanted to put like some type of power station because I love how the power station looks for the Jurassic Park era. So I decided to add this. This is just a random me thing, just to add random flair to the build. I think I said it earlier in another video where I didn't understand what else was added to this facility. Like you can see in the picture that there's some random stuff, but I didn't know what buildings those were, and I couldn't really even see the buildings, and I didn't want to just place like something out of the ordinary. So I felt like, you know, they kept mentioning in the movie, oh, geothermal. So I decided to add, you know, our power plants, which are geothermal power plants. Maybe I'll have the pipes leading up to it. I do want to say that I know that there's pipes on this other side of this canal, where next to the power plant. I will be adding those in the next episode. I just realized that after looking at it when I'm barely editing this. I just didn't want to add it to this because I'm lazy. Right, so I just added a whole bunch of trees. I like this part because it's just, it felt more hiding the entire corporate part of the park. I like hiding my stuff with trees, so I just decided to do it there. And I realized that I needed a hatchery. Now I know this building probably isn't here in the actual movie, and I know that the Lagoon building isn't there as well that I'm gonna place, but I just did because I want to add the mosasaur to the lagoon, and I want to add dinosaurs, so I was going to use the hatchery for those dinosaurs. Okay, placing this lagoon hatchery, I noticed that there was some weird textures with the actual concrete and the water, so I decided to flatten the terrain around it and make it look like that the forest extends outward. I actually liked this change because I felt like I was having issues with the forest before, not the forest, the mountain before, and I think this just changed everything about it. Now I wanted to add an aviary hatchery. I just didn't know where, but I noticed that I liked the aviary hatchery for those buildings on the mountain right there more than the biosim one. So I added those two buildings, and then I put them close together, copied their locations, and then just pretty much just spread them out. Because I do know that we have our Quetzals that we had to place as well, but I didn't think that they'd be able to be. I didn't think that they'd be able to be hatched from those. So I add more aviary hatcheries later in another building on the secondary facility part, the upper facility part, but it's okay. Okay. Next area, I decide to remove some of this concrete. No, I don't. Did I not? Did I already remove the concrete in this area? I wasn't paying attention. Oh, these are the trees and planters that I was talking about that I wanted to replace with actual trees. I just don't like how, again, corporate it looks. It looks too clean to have these planters and stuff. I want it more like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just, it looks better when it's just natural, like the side, like the thing on the left side of the pathway. I just like it because these trees in a line, they just look too formal, and I feel like it's not supposed to look that formal. So I do plan to remove all those trees and clean up that entire area. Now this next part, I use another modded piece that I made. This is like the only mod that's not going to be in the collection until the download for this map is done, because I need to get this mod approved, and it's just something, so it's a shitty mod that I just randomly made just to have this grass texture. So I need to figure out how to upload that to Nexus for you guys. But I made these new pieces. I believe they're called 32 by 12 pieces. And I made them specifically for larger side of like walls if I wanted to do grass things. So I lay them all out. I lay down a lot, and then I move them. Okay. I move them over here. Hey guys, I'm yawning. Because I talked about this last episode. I didn't know if this was supposed to be sloped with trees or if it was like more grass. So I decided to put the more grass there. I accidentally reset the tool, or I accidentally reset the items. So we have to replace them, but yeah. But I don't know. I think they turned out well. I feel like I need to work on some LODs for this model. Because I feel like it does lag the game, unless it's something else, or unless it's one of these random buildings that have like 500 parts on them. Because I did place a lot of decorations, so it could have been an issue. Okay, so we have this pretty much done. We just wanted to line it up, and then we wanted to fix the terrain a bit, smooth it out, just make sure that the ends are cleaned up. The next thing that we do is we lay down a border on the top and on the bottom of our wall slope. Now I use the concrete. I was gonna place them all, but I realized that they were all uneven, so I decided to place down, I believe, 12 pieces, and I placed down a whole bunch extra just in case I wanted to use more. And then I just line them up and make a straight line out of these, like how I did before for the canal and for a lot of other buildings in this build. I just line them up so I can just rotate them and put them on the base of it. And then I kind of do the same thing on the top, where I lined them up on the top. Okay. Now that they are all lined up, I took a moment to just look at everything and see how it looks. And I thought it looked pretty, it looks pretty amazing. I really liked how it was turning out. It looked like a facility. Like that was my goal, you know, it looked like a facility. So that I did. Okay guys, so now I decide to actually use more of our gas containers for piping. Now this section is quite a long section because I placed on so many pipes and I had to line them all up and rotate them because this was going to be the piping on top of the slope we just placed. Now I'm not going to narrate all of this because this is just, again, way too much, but I just pretty much just copy paste and just move them and position them and all that stuff, and you'll see this in a second. I've done this already like twice for this video. So you'll see it that I'm just basically doing the same thing over and over again. Now this part is another part that I'm unsure about keeping the way I've made it. I want to add more pipes towards the end of it. You'll guys see that in a second. But I don't know. I just feel like I put way like I didn't put enough pipes. I felt like I didn't put enough pipes. So you'll see that, but okay. So I placed on the pipes. This is what it looks like. It's all these pipes up top. I did add like a little L to it with the slope at the end, just because I wanted to end it there. This is where I feel like I'm unsure about adding more pipes. I want to add more pipes and make it kind of like a T-junction. But I didn't know what to do here. This next part is the vegetation on the ends of this piping. Now, I didn't know if I wanted to use the trees. I noticed that the trees were a little bit too much. And I remembered that we had like some different trees. We had tree hats, we had mango trees. We had all this random vegetation that I wanted to use. Basically, we use this vegetation to just hide the area that's open. It's basic Disney type of hiding, you know, just use something to hide something. So that was my plan here. I had to remove all the other vegetation too as well, and I decided to just do that all along this so you could actually see the buildings and the buildings that are going to be in the background and the pipes. So this is going to take a hot second, but this took a little bit of work. I used the tree hats. I noticed that we had these tree hats that were good for bushes. Thank you, Astro, also for mentioning that. We noticed this on my live stream on the Jurassic Park Europe one. But yeah. So anyways, here I'm just positioning all of them, just making sure that, you know, it looks okay and not just some random bush place. Also, I apologize if you guys, if my voice is coming in and out. I'm sorry guys, it's hot. It's a hot day today, so I just had to have my fan on. Yeah, anyways, I clear out some of this stuff on the top because I realized that I wanted to add another building up here to just add some random buildings that could work as a aviary release thing for our Kretzel. You know, you know, a lot of the stuff that I do, I don't know if you guys haven't noticed yet, but a lot of the stuff that I do doesn't have an explanation. So me doing this kind of makes me expose myself for me just randomly pasting things down and hoping it works. So happy birthday, guys. But yeah. Yeah, I mess with this a lot because I didn't know what I wanted to do here with these trees. Because I wanted to not hide the pipes, because in the beginning of the movie the helicopter comes in and you can see all of this. So I wanted to make sure that you can see all of this. I didn't also like how the pipes were, so I decided to add some sides to the pipes and kind of just have that concrete make it look like it was guiding the pipes to some random place. I also decided that the back part of this should be a flat wall. Yeah, kind of like, you know, have our borders. This is what I was talking about when I was placing the other one. I just didn't do that until now. This is basically us now working on the secondary facility a little bit more. This should have been the cutoff, but there's just still a lot more. Okay, so we just placed our other side of the wall here just to make it look like it wasn't floating. And then this is where we add the brackets for our pipes on the sides, just because we wanted to add some brackets. Now, again, I might change this to make it actually have some more pipes. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to do that or not. But yeah, but these pipes needed to go somewhere, so I decided to add another building to these pipes. Okay, so I decided to make this bridge for the canal, basically the same design that I used for the helipad. Now these bridges, I'm gonna say this now, they need like some more support to it, just so they're not floating. I'll do that in the upcoming episode, just when I design everything, or like add more of a design to the rest of the facility, like more decorations and all that stuff. So I'll just do that. I wasn't going to show me making the bridge again because that's a waste of like 20 minutes. And I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to sit through that again. But this part up here, I decide to add more concrete walls, just to kind of divide the section up a little bit. And then I add our stand treehouse thing, or watchtower, whatever it's called. Now, I didn't know what I wanted to use. I didn't know if I wanted to use the viewing gallery, or if there was some other type of building that I could use. The viewing gallery was okay, but the thing is, it just didn't look right to me. So I decided to go through our decorations and see what I can use. In the end, I went to go use the aquatic park tower. I thought it was all right. It's kind of an iffy moment for me, because I didn't like the texture of the like canvas on the top of the tower. So I might change that again too. I don't know. Then this last part we had to do here was our fence. There's a fence here on the other side of the gas station. And the thing is, I had to hide a lot of our fence work because you couldn't place any trees close to the fence and the pathways. So this was me dealing with that scenario. All right. For this last part, we are working on the secondary facility, aka the upper facility or top facility. I don't know what the hell you guys want to call it. I didn't know what to call it. It was just something else that felt like it was a different part of the facility, so I just decided to add it. Now, I wanted to use these. I wanted to use these buildings, because I liked how they looked, and they kind of would work for what I was planning to do anyways. Now, I needed to use 3 of them to kind of make the building longer. The next thing I want to do is use these 3 walls, flatten them, and use them as slopes to kind of give the building more of like a shape that engine used for this whole entire facility, where it's kind of angled but at the same time it's kind of straight. So I had to make these stone walls flat and then assign them to the ends of the building. Now here I didn't know how far of a slope I wanted to do. Apparently I didn't want to do that big of a slope because it just wouldn't really make any sense for some reason. So I placed them there. I moved them again a little bit because I realized that I wanted to make them look a little bit better. Then this next part, I decided to make the vertical walls so I can put them at the ends, like how I did with the gas station on the side of the gas station. So I placed them like so. They're not even with the ground, but I found that I was like, okay, I'm okay with that. I changed that later. I just try to make them a little bit more even, so it's not as visible, but it's still uneven. But this is basically what I wanted it to be like. I wanted it just to have it go out. The next thing I do is I add our grass that I made. Now for this one, I decided to go with a grass roof. I love the grass roofs in this, but it's really annoying to do. So I basically just placed 6 of these in a row and then just applied them to the top of this building, and then I realigned them to make it kind of have the concrete in between them still showing, so it didn't just look random, right? And then you can see that there's some gaps in some of them, so I used the concrete to my advantage and use it as kind of like a divider. As you guys can see, boom, it looks good, honestly. Then I do it again. I place them all into place, and then I move them over a little bit just so we can get more of a concrete on the edge. And then I want the concrete on the grass to be like how I did before, where it's barely just showing the concrete. And then we have our grass roof. Okay. Then I repositioned these a little bit. I wanted them in line with the pillars on the top to just kind of have it like kind of lined up a little bit, in line a little bit. Other than that, everything else is pretty much done. This is pretty much it for our video. I do have an outro for you guys, but oh right, I had to rotate this. This is gonna be rotated to the side. Yeah. Okay. Then I wanted to put the pipes connected to this building, but I also wanted them to go through our little arches that we made, and I thought that looked cool. I do want to put something else back here, but I don't know what I want to do. I want to do another building at least. I feel like I can put more space with a lot of these buildings. But yeah. Anyways, we still have to decorate a lot of this stuff, but I'll leave that for a future episode. And here I am, just taking screenshots. So I'll leave you guys for my outro. All right, everyone. So that is it for this episode. I apologize that I had to like change it halfway through to make it be more of a speed build. I didn't plan to do that, but I saw how long this was going to be. This recording that I am doing right now, it's around 3 hours on top of the other 3 hours that I had recorded. Now that was going to be a lot for the video as is, and the video is already an hour long. So I apologize for the speed build part. The next few episodes aren't going to be like that. They're going to be more hands-on tutorial type. But again, I'd like to say that this wasn't a tutorial, it was a speed build. So I don't expect you guys to follow through and copy me. But there are some little pieces that I need to still fill in. Obviously, we have some of our decorations that need to be put to fill in our blank spaces. I'm going to be thinking about that a little bit more before I do them. And then of course we have our pillars holding up our bridges, like the one on the canal over here. It's just floating in the air, and the one over the water right here with the lagoon, it's just floating as well. So I'll be doing that. I'll be thinking about that, and I'll be putting them in towards the end where we have like a decorating part, you know. So I believe this is part 5, part 6 maybe, I don't know. I just didn't want this to go on for longer than it needed to. Because I already split the video in half last week, and I've been delaying this video for a while now because of how extensive it was going to be. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. You could probably tell that I'm tired. I've been working on this for quite a while, so it's nice to know that our facility is almost done. So yeah, anyways guys, I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one.